Je Judan do Jin Jano La Jangchub Pardo Dana Jabsam Dagu Chishi Jibe Tonang Je Drola Penchir Sanje Drapesh Sanje Judan do Jin Jano La Jangchub Pardo Dana Jabsam Dagu Chishi Jibe Tonang Je Drola Penchir Sanje Drapesh Sanje Judan Zoje Janon Shanja Bada Dana Jasamje Dage Chishi Jebe Zonamje Dola Pencher Sanje Drabarisho. Good morning again. Okay. Looks everyone very wake up, you guys. Very fresh. I think like this time, like everyone, anyone, to use the online, the Zoom or Facebook or just meeting here. Even the singers, the singer, they play at their own home, then they just broadcast for everywhere. I think this is like a new word. You could really start a new word this year. It's even we have difficult time like that, but we able to use or meet like technology. We can meet together. It's very wonderful for all of us. And I hope all of you are doing well. Are you guys okay? Good.
Yes.
Good. Therefore, we just talk about before, we need to like contentment. Whatever we have right now, just I'm lucky. I'm the one of the luckiest person. Even maybe say I don't have nothing too lucky. Maybe people think that, right? I'm terrible. I don't have nothing too lucky. Yeah, even you not die today. It's lucky. You're able to get up. You're able to see. This also because they're lucky. A lot of people, they're not able to move. They're not able to talk. They're not able to walk. Compare that, we can say we are lucky. Of course, everything is perfect. Right now, maybe no one's perfect. Everyone has problems, right? Therefore, we say, I'm lucky one. I think that's better way. Therefore, I'm the terrible person. I'm the worst person. Then your problems never go away. It's a lot of damage for our mind. Therefore, we just say, I'm the one of the luckiest one. How many people died, like all over the world, the last couple of months? If we know, like COVID-19, then there were like more than 1 million people die. Then another disease, maybe more than 1 million people die. We don't know. Therefore, we are not one of that. Then we can say, I'm lucky. Therefore, if any kind difficult time, difficult situation, try to how can control that without destroy our mind. Therefore, we always say, think about negative. They're always just negative, bad things. Therefore, like that. Therefore, try to keep our mind to busy also. Sometimes it's good to make your mind a little bit busy. Maybe recite something, some meditation, do something. Otherwise, you stay, you're thinking, then it's also a lot of destroy our mind. Therefore, one of the best way is to try to keep your mind busy. Do some prayer, do some read the book. You can say, okay, I'm going to recite. If you have no job, like you have very free time, you say, okay, I'm going to, 1,000 times Om Mani Padme Hum every day. You just do commitment, if you are very free time you have. I'm not saying you have no free to do that, Therefore, sometimes, what can I do? I have nothing to do, Then just recite Om Mani Padme Hum. His Holiness Dalai Lama said, his life, he recited any mantras. Om Mani Padme is the most low, or what's that? He recited most mantra, the Om Mani Padme Hum. Therefore, sometimes say, Om Mani Padme is very simple, Why we have to, it's not very simple. And really the meaning is think about method and wisdom. In order to practice in enlighten, we need to practice wisdom and method. Then, or in order to achieve enlightenment, we need to practice wisdom and method. Therefore, Om Mani Padme Hum, the meaning of the Om Mani Padme Hum talk about the wisdom and method. Therefore, also there are some different connections, You recite more Om Mani Padme Hum, also you have more connection to Avalokiteshvara. You become person to peace. Because the one of the Avalokiteshvara is the compassion Buddha. Therefore, you become very compassionate. You are a peaceful person. If you are the peace, then around you also peace. Most, not all that. Sometimes, how much do you try to peace, then they always just get mad. They just leave that. Don't touch. Therefore, you become more peace. It's possible make the peace for all you around. Usually some good things is very difficult to change. The bad things is very easy to change, right? If you good things, the people doesn't to see you're doing good things. If you do some big mistake, then everyone says, he, she did mistake, they did. This is how we grow up, We like to criticize for bad things. We don't like to pray for good things. Otherwise, everyone has, they try to their best, try to do good things, but people doesn't really appreciation. Like that, right? Therefore, keep our mind too busy. If you have very free time, you have nothing to do. Then do a little bit meditation. Okay. Okay. Now today we go to a little bit only meditation. Okay. Ani 다 계산 알아서인데 다 로종 된던만 가지 샤축의 셈께발라 아니 다제 냠제거네 샤축의 셈께다 지다 아니 제대 매가 던지고네 로종서 니에베나네 다 제대 매가 던지고네 로종서 다 마와치앙아서 막 줍선바래 다티 바라테 아니 다제 냠제거네 로종서 셰베 칼라야 알로 로종 된다단 되게 아니 랍자시게도 다티 마아르시 자요로스.
And so we're discussing about how to generate bodhicitta, and two means of generating bodhicitta. One is through sevenfold cause and effect instruction. The other one is through equalizing and exchanging self with others. So we have already gone through the first method of sevenfold cause and effect instruction, most of it. And then the next one is how to generate bodhicitta through the means of equalizing and exchanging self with others. And so there are many parts of that. And we're going to do a little bit of meditation on Tonglen today.
다 계산 teleba 아니 가서 삽체 되어요. 아니 다 ngondo tinji chutan ba 세달라야 다 강들은 가서 저때 아니 야라되고네 촉사 접자야 보지. 아니 웅중이야 보지 곰. 아니 Tejela ani nganzo tanjo nyeka chawa mataba legend ko tamata teres.
So the first part of the sevenfold, the 7-point thought transformation, is the of the preparatory practice, which is having done the practice, of the 7 limbs in order to accumulate merit and to purify negativities. Then you do the meditation on the breath, as you inhale and exhale, concentrate on breath, and then after that you visualize, you contemplate on the profitable rebirth, death and impermanence, karmic law of cause and effect, the disadvantage of cycle existence, and so forth.
제가 다 등소 언니 상지고 셈 문에 지금 마셔면 내려야 다 년도 내가 조고 그러봐.
So those are the preparatory practice, in order to it's a preparing in order to generate the actual bodhicitta.
제가 다 데려가도 돈내도 공부해다. 다 시다 돈내 얼마 용도 용거다. 당가도 되는 바 우은정어도 냠도 가서 안에 돈내도 냠도 쳐야다.
And so there is a practice, of Tonglen, which is taking and giving. And it says do the practice, when you do the practice of Tonglen, it says mount on the breath. So mount on the breath. So as you breathe in, breathe out, you visualize the practice of the Tonglen. And taking, as you breathe in, taking, and as you breathe out, giving. So Tonglen is like giving and taking.
제자야 다 돈내 줘야 가려야 안에 다 누구 책도 편안간도 안에 우파 땅을 가라고 수수 우다 냠도야 수수지지지 안에 지 개와다 대와다 안에 레비샤카 엠바데 우다 냠도 진에 섬자 참말아 파 에트리요 삼바치 우살아 누구 수용을 가려야 안에 제 샘셴게 지지 링아에 섬지 안에 지다 동아도 줘야 지 도코도 수코 지 도와도 돼 나포가 나바지네 수수 나고는 야한데 투면 나고는 야한데 아니 소소 나세 슈치모도 나한테 아니 소소 니가더라 여바로 선다 되게 강하마 아니 누구 요다고 써봤지 어떤 내지 공부도 왔어.
And so when you do this meditation of taking and giving on the breath, then as you breathe out, and you visualize giving all the virtues and all the happinesses to all sentient beings, and thereby they experience the bliss or the happiness. And then as you breathe in, imagine taking all their sufferings, all their causes of sufferings, like the delusions, the karma, the negativities, negative actions, and all these things, in a form of a black smoke or soot. And then that comes, as you breathe in, imagine taking that, and then visualize your self-cherishing attitude and self-grasping, cherishing the self and the grasping the self at your heart, and imagine the pouring all that negativities, all the delusions, all the sufferings, onto that.
다나 팅아데다나 말루네 딱 안자다 되게 sem적인 녀뭐 참아봐 아니 매바차 소소 니가데 매바차송 삼고래 야 텔라 도도 냐데나야 야 세면 니가 차오는 거 그랬어.
And as you pour all that negativities onto the self-cherishing attitude and self-grasping ignorance, and imagine that vanishes, all the negativities of the sentient beings and the self-cherishing attitude and self-grasping ignorance as well. And so think that everything just vanishes or disappears. Don't hold it there tight and solid there. That's not good. So let it go. Just think that everything just disappeared.
와다시다 돈에 두체디 곰다 다 두체니 데스 까마쮸세 곰게다 두체니 저도 가서 미카시게 다 돈에다 가는 공고 돈에다 가는 공고세 아니들이 랍데도 다테 답데오도 다팅도 참이 제도로 왔어.
So this is the meditation of Tonglen, taking and giving. So just just breathe out, give, and breathe in, take on all the negativities. And so many people have been asking how to do the practice of Tonglen. And so this is how we do it. And it's pretty easy, not that difficult. So we're going to do this meditation for about 10 minutes.
제가 다 단대 가랑간도 잠블레가 다 무사야 된 참말라 간제 아니 가로 링아 예슴지 강에 열 당하도 코 강에 내도 삼고 말아 다 열다 삼아 열여다 아니 소소 레제나다 샘지 동안 삼배 빠져 가 여바다 우트 데마갈라야 아니 소소라 트 갈래지네 아니 투답송 야 파데마라 아니 지 소소지 아니 지 개발리 배셔도 아니 지 맨다 들스가 나바지네 콘솔라 파트에서 삼바지데 지네다 대장장 에스 지네다.
So right now, because of this situation, the pandemic that we are in, it's very easy to think about all the sufferings that people, human beings, are going through. And then also, of course, you can think about all the other sufferings of the other sentient beings. And especially like now, at this time, all the people are going through some kind of suffering, right? Physically and mentally. So all those sufferings, all their the physical pains, diseases, mental sufferings, anguishes, and all their obstacles or interferences are and all take that all of those take in the form of black liquid or cloud or soot, whatever you feel comfortable visualizing in that form, and then imagine taking onto yourself at your heart where you have this self-chastening attitude and grasping ignorance, solid there, and then pour onto that, and that disappears, like I explained before. And then also from your side, when you're giving, you can think about giving all the happiness, all the virtues, and also like medicines and comfort and advice like that in a form of white cloud, white light, and then that strikes to the sentient beings, and thereby they are all free from their sufferings like that. So just train your mind like that, taking and giving as you breathe in and out.
다 동자한테는 하먹으나 간집에는 간조 다 삼점 아니 줌발랭도 줌바 다 줌바도 남래래거나 살래거나 가war래 더war래니 더완 코라 파메도다 대도시로.
So when you think about vanishing, like if you find difficult, then imagine like a fog or a cloud, that comes and then just disappears, right? Like that. So imagine like that, your self-grasping ignorance and all the negativity of this enemy that you take upon that is like just disappear like that.
Okay, ready? 단도지도 갈래지는 소소고 갈래지 수도 갈래지는 바다인다.
Yeah, so like that. So slowly breathe in and slowly breathe out. And then as you breathe in and out, try your best to do the visualization.
No, yeah, that don't go that tradition go good study.
So that's how you're supposed to meditate on Tonglen, or taking and giving.
And then young something been a jeji dunga chulang ubi kabla suzu sun tumbana yang tela samna ngamra tele yung gore. Te mayo chide yang been a suzu ninkala ya work about you and the two ngula and the same jeji dunga to tela ya to me mewa chasu sam go suzu to matabachi.
So sometimes people might be scared to take the suffering of others on top onto oneself. So in that case, you can just visualize a circle of light at your heart, and then as you take the suffering, you can just think that all those sufferings of sentient beings dissolve into that.
Okay, oji, da dene tonle gom dachi. Oda namji tu jine tonle tu chi gom ane uk tangi uk de nyamdo pa ta uk de nyamdo tsi da na da konju kochi te tab de yorwa.
Yeah, so when you do the meditation on Tonglen or taking and giving, do it on the breath. It's easier to visualize like that.
Oda te tonle gom ta chi gres. Ta shina tonle gom ta la ya chi so tabshin rabra mambo yor.
And so that's one way of meditating on the Tonglen. There are many other methods, explanations, so that you can find maybe.
Okay, like that. Watch. 다 드지 다 간도 아니 골라야 아니 연락도 냐면 되죠. 아니 때문에 우정어대 이제 다 선발을 되죠. 아니 뒤줄라다 나눠서 간들 아니 녀케와 담주지 물리는 뭐지. 녀 자케와 태와지 뭐 기비진이 난자. 요걸 다 단대 간에 소소지 개와 나바타바지 마트나 아니 단 되는 양주지 신의 애송지 제구시나 다 전에 용사 말에 선배 근로들이 이렇게 고레스들이 섬당고 그래서
And so, having started with the practice of the seminal prayers, and then you do the you do the breathing meditation to calm your mind, and then after that, then contemplate on the purgatory and rebirth, especially the point point on how difficult it is to achieve this purgatory and rebirth. And when we have achieved it, if we don't make good use of it, make it meaningful by practicing Dharma, then it will be extremely difficult to achieve it again in the future. So thinking like that, contemplate on perfect rebirth.
제당도 단주가 밀려진 보지 토비어래 대화침을 기වි신은 잘 단대래 나가지 용화요 말에 산제 공부 데벨롭다 내래 나가지 로사요 말에.
So we have achieved the perfect rebirth and have met with the Mahayana teachings of the Buddha. And so there is no better condition than this to achieve enlightenment.
대삼을 아니 대줄라다 야 내 가디에 나가도 녀 대화다. 내 템보지나 야 그렇게 말다. 대 템보 아니 요보다 세 가세레 왔나 로급죠. 로급죠 대화나 다 로간조배는 간도 다로 자치도 버리나 다 바지 수소란 거 때문에 차로 때다. 그 리모샤라 요 말했을 때다. 당아도 니마 데레네 간도 추득고 삼고레스.
So even though we have this great opportunity to practice Dharma, but it is if it can last forever, then it will be okay. We don't have to worry about it. But it's not going to last forever, and the longest it may last is maybe at this time maybe about 90 years, and then even if we stay up to 90 years, then from 80 years old we will be like dependent on others, so we'll not be able to do anything by ourselves. And so, life will be not, that much of thing, to do at that age. So think about, how this is not going to last forever, and should start to practice Dharma from right now.
Okay, 아니 단조니가 처음만 나왔지. 다 대양 아니 지금 레전드라. 다 대양 가져 레야 보사고. 아니 렌들라라래. 자 레스나 다 제야 보사고도. 다 제야 보카르나 아니 소소 내차 샤당 콘로 짜자 지나 아니 레두가 사르고. 아니 샴바 니제 샤저가 셈 젬페가로 되잖아. 아니 계획으로 사거든다. 다 아니 먹어봐 가 용도면 단디가 섬로 따라라래도 삼는다. 소소가 셈간 토토 계획으로 거야다. 가 토토 뇨모 오다 말어치고 요레스.
So meditate on death and impermanence like that, thinking that this is not going to last forever. It will come to end, and when it comes to the end, then it will not disappear or vanish, into nothing, or we'll have to take a rebirth. And then what kind of rebirth we're going to have in the future depends on what kind of karma we have created. If we have created good karma, then we'll have good rebirth. If we have created bad karma, then we'll have bad rebirth. So good karma, like helping others, having good heart, and engaging in virtuous actions of not killing, not stealing, and so forth. And then the non-virtuous actions are the actions that cause harm to others. All these things. So making sure that not creating any negative karmas and creating only positive karma. And if we have that, then there is a possibility that we can have good rebirth again in the future.
제가 레도아사데 당아도 세세가 말아도 세가 말했어. 당아도 도와 가지 밀에 직접 볼랍 거래. 나 주로 가가라고 말해 주로 이메일 나도 이메일 다셔가 왔어. 다 되네 제가 말사도 제고 그랬어.
And so in our case, in the like people ask, like us here, in our case, maybe we might not do that kind of bad negative karma, create bad negative karma like killing, but we maybe do a lot from our speech, like criticizing others or using a harsh word on others and so forth, and maybe not much from the speech, but maybe a lot from the finger also, by typing. Right?
제가 대사도 변나 수수가 삼설 수수 따와대 셴베게 가만히마다 telangado 그런데 수수 따와 나지데 마초 많이마다 telaya 가도 렌로쇼다 되게 레드게 미 파주베 삼나 포도 그래서 근데 갈라 때빼 섭섭제고 대가도 빼니가 제자 자고도.
And many of these speeches that we use happens at the time when we have a different opinion with somebody else, right? Then when somebody says something and then we answer in certain ways that we think is correct, but it may, hurt their feelings, So that time it is very, very important, to be conscientious.
그러나 미 셴베가 소설라 차라된 데금도 차라 나오는 가도 집어마다 대나지 가도 팔라나 파줘요 말. 다도 섭섭제고 다 대라 레메게 봐.
So you might, be able to understand that better when you put that upon oneself. Let's say somebody says something bad about you. It says, "Oh no, that's not like that. It's not like that. You're doing it wrong," and so forth. If there's somebody said that to you, then you feel hurt, right? Just like that. And when you say that to others will feel hurt also. And so those are the kind of non-virtuous actions that we are more in more risk of creating, not like killing human beings and so forth, but that kind of negative karma. So we have to be conscientious about those as well.
제가 남중에서 아니 인지 자아가 마하마 겐데게 지요래. 암조도 간주말에 녀마데스 바지 암조 갑 메갑 카갑들. 사대가 암조 가주분이 녀마데스. 된다 여 매니가 지도래고 말했어요. 아니 미그다바가제 저랑 주도 요즘 딴 로마데스. 카드카지 저랑 칸에 주도 예매가 셰마데라 어떻게 된다 테레.
So there's an advice given by Mahatma Gandhi, from India. They're depicted with the three monkeys, and covering ear, one covering mouth, and one covering eyes. So like says, don't listen to all the gossips, all sorts of things that has nothing to do with you, and don't look at the things that causes a lot of distractions and desires and so forth, and don't speak so much things that may cause harm to others, may hurt others' feelings and so forth. So therefore, keep these three doors closed.
제가 안에 어느 가도래 당에 맞는 스위치가 그래서 민마저 주동에 맞은 스위치가 그래. 나 잼페이 있어봐요. 대사자 맞잖아. 아니 소주야 끊어야 보이나야 되게야 잼바 못 보래 껴자로 니가 있던데 고파 지다 투지다 sabdob체도 나도 배나 모자여서 람가데 가로 섬도도 고마잖아. 그게 록마로 막은 도체다. 이거 모자여도 파다 아니 신호 고마자. 대도 집발에서.
So sometimes we feel like we have the responsibility, like saying that if you see it, you should say it. So like that kind of concept, yeah, it's true. But then you have to also think, it's your responsibility, but you have to also check, whether what you see is right or wrong, whether how you're going to say it is going to be harmful to others or not. You have to always analyze on that. Just like when you're crossing road at the junction. There is a car coming from this side, that side, from all 3 or 4 sides. Then you have to always watch, the cars, and if he's coming from here or not, or coming from there or not. And then if there's no car, then you cross like that. You have to be very, very conscientious and watch your, direction, watch your road where you're going everywhere, whether there are cars coming from anywhere or not. So just like that, you should always watch your mind.
Oh, the Jeda Ngandubena, Jeda Namje and kanji jela nyoge yowana ane maba nyud chena zewa yis kanji ka nyud chena ya yo lad jeda da ngado chaso ta tisa oge ngado toyo ne de toyo mara teda zugute dafuja na ya yo se
yeah. So if you are not sure what you are saying can cause harm to others or not, then better say less. So and right now you don't have to maybe control your speech so much, because you don't see each other with other people. So you'll be always texting. So you should control your fingers now.
Oda te kadena susun te sususo kanje ta ngazo karo ranchila ranke kaji tsinjiwa karo ane ranchila ranke dechula penke kanje susu dewa ke tendara susun ke gore ane yatsowa de yabo yo cheta pombo de yabo che gore sariyo.
Yeah, so for oneself, one has to guard one's mind. One has to be one's guide or protector, and you have to be good protector for yourself, good guide for yourself, and for the people, in the village or in the town or city or state, the leader has to be good. You have to find a good leader to protect or to guard the people of the village, city or town.
Okay, tadene tenida ta ngando kanji tande ga cheda ta tanda ngando ani le yadu sade sosugo ani lenga yosum go showa chetang ra chi tenida da nga ka top ani jela manuagi lega chiri sabe kron triki go do.
For the bad karma and the good karma, it depends on the good and bad actions of your body, speech, and mind. And so, so always think that I'm going to create only positive karma, and as much as possible, and will never create any negative karma. You just make this kind of determination in your mind, and that will help you to not create the negative karmas and always engage in positive karmas.
Tatene oda tatengero tindi chuten ba se de lojo tondi go lojo tambo de sonse bare.
So that's the the first part of the preparatory practice, the first part of the 7-point thought transformation.
아니 다 니방이지 자주 셈 정발라 아니 된덤 자주도工作 섭진이지 다 아니 된덤 사제자야 돼 간지 상상 파베지 돈요도 별로더라 아니 된덤 자주 셈라 그래서.
And then for training in the actual bodhicitta, there are 2 kinds of bodhicitta: ultimate bodhicitta and the conventional or relative bodhicitta. And the ultimate bodhicitta is the wisdom realizing emptiness conjoined with the bodhicitta.
어제 다 아니 다때 선 주마치지 다 아니 된덤 근도 상제 셈 정화들라 아니 라친드지 쩐고 도만의 삼바스 이젠치데 고이데 도만의 삼바스 다드마 삽체 카시르 다 가서 라친드 때문에 진진 되게 다 단단한도 배나 메라야 특두가 라야 다도 가 영화도 좀 라친바도 진진 수수고 삼수 수수 따와다 슈체타니 아니 미션발랑아도 도 쇼쇼 쇼도다 간지 라친마라니 쳬버도 진진게 뛰는데 가상아도 랍타임 바스.
And then, so we'll talk about that later, the ultimate bodhicitta. And then for the actual bodhicitta, which is the relative or conventional bodhicitta, and then so for generating that, there are like 5 parts. How self and others are equal, contemplating the many faults resulting from self-cherishing, contemplating the many good qualities resulting from cherishing others, actual contemplation on interchange of self and others, and so forth. So, so first, think about also the equalizing self with others. We did that already, and then contemplating many the faults resulting from self-cherishing attitude. So those are so all the things that we say do, say and do and think, with the with the self-cherishing attitude, so for oneself, for thinking of one's own benefit, and saying or doing, and thinking, to cause harm to others.
제가 더니 안에 레 두어사야다 라니 집안들이 진행이 바란 제와요. 제와 고르면도 콘 제메 차르바 콘 제와요. 간제 레 두어도 간제나 라니 소소 야나 nga 야만에 nges. 대녀라 차니 차바고 아는 점바 팀은 레 두어사라고. 그래서 대 야포 말해서라고 그랬어.
And all these negative karmas are created in relation, with the self-cherishing attitude, right, or self-grasping ignorance. So I want to have it. It's good for myself, or to my things, or to my friends and relatives, or to my properties and like that. So my thing is of grasping at oneself, or cherishing, or with strong attachment to oneself. Then one creates all these negative karmas. So there is a negative karma that we create, and the self-cherishing attitudes.
어디다 라니 집안들이 그 존에 배는 네바탄다 또염내도 선도거든. 그래서 다 거기 배 두자래서 와. 라니
집안들이 like a chronic disease, the self-cherishing attitude that we have is like the chronic disease, like the pandemic.
Okay, 존에 세대 나사도 여와지 수망고 마치 칼레 믿마스 마찬으로 된대죠. 존에 세대로 말으로.
The chronic disease, is disease that's very like old and hidden, not really obviously causing any harm, but then slowly, creating all the damages in your body and mind.
제가 안에 라니 집안들이 진행된 간도 홉드가는 코테 껴도 통받는데 되게 깨지는 가디나 담아도 와요 되더라고.
So just like that, self-cherishing attitude doesn't seem like it is causing any harm to us. It is not very obvious that it's causing harm to us, right? But at the back, because of having that in our mind, and then that creates, all the problems in our life.
다들 가서 접선 받지. 다 대시만. 다 오늘 아니 제반도 젠데도 된데 두잖아. 오늘 제 제반도는 연대 가리요. 그래서 다들 드리는 말에 제 제반도 젠데 연대 것도만 봐서.
So last time we talked about that outline, right, which mainly discusses about the many faults resulting from self-cherishing attitude, and now we're going to talk about on many good qualities resulting from cherishing others.
제가 다 되게 공부하고대 아니 자세 좀 쉬어라. 이제 대화 전혀봐 되게 제대 내려시고 이제 나 대화 간에 요와데 참아대 아니 제 대화 가로. And
to support that, there's a quote from Shantideva's Guide to the Buddhist Way of Life, which says, all worldly happiness to be found comes from wishing others happiness.
다 나중에 Lama 주변에 답변하는도 만남 치서 달랑 고별은 대예된 주변 공통 내스 아니 만남 아니 제반점에 아니 로테 아니 타이비가 아니 연대 타마 주변 고대가 고래더와.
And also in the Guru Puja, it says, I see that cherishing these, means mother sentient beings, my mothers, and it is a thought that leads to happiness, the door leading to infinite qualities. So if you cherish other sentient beings, other mother sentient beings, then that brings all the happinesses, and then also that helps you to gain all the good qualities.
Okay, 다 되지. 다 되네로. 다들 마셔다 르다 되는 뭐 자당화 쉬면 거 같이. 아니 간들 아니 소소라 단단 콜 폰도 소바 용화돼요. 또 젠체바도 왜 진행되는 용거요. 그래서.
And so there are so many others that's explained in the text, but we don't have to go through all each of them. So anyway, so all the happiness, all the auspiciousness that we experience is all from cherishing others.
제가 간지 알아서 미 강가라 초보 초모 미사마 가오 지사요나 아니 간지 아니 소소 젤라 가오 젤라 야보 챤데 젠타도 가오 챤요 버스.
So if you want to have a good friends, who like you, then you have to, be good to them. Right? You cherish others, you help them, you be good to them, and they will be good to you.
가데 된 투바자는 코도 가고 말아.
If you are not good to them, if you don't cherish them, if you are not good to them, and you always fight with them, will they be friends with you?
어지 다 대드니지. 아니 배나 소소라야 세рем보 영화대야. 아니 젠지 속 좁배가 아니 속 마치배가 아니 소치가 네바하고는 속 마치배인데 되게 소소 세렘보 영화래서. 세рем와다 내 마용와다 평교래서.
And having a long life is also because of cherishing others. You cherish others, you care about others, and you don't cause harm to their lives. Don't take their life, right? You don't cause harm to their life by cherishing them, and therefore you are able to have long life.
당가도 로림보 로 가로 로 이노보 되거라. 다 티나라 안에 가서 로 이노보드나 야 가서 제벤조 야보고 그래서 제벤조 야보도와 영화다야 이제라 심바동 할 때는 용고요래서.
And so we want to have a long life, and not only long life, we want to have a prosperous life also, right? With lots of wealth and also sufficient wealth and so forth. So that also comes, from cherishing others, by caring about others, and you help them, you give them the food and the things that they need. And because of that, you get the things, and you become rich, and you get the things that you need. So the good things that you have also is from cherishing others, by thinking of others and by practicing generosity on others. And so we want to have long life. We want to have good, wealth, plenty of wealth. That both of them come from others, right?
And like
that also, if you want to have a good look, beautiful, handsome look, then you have to practice patience. So we all want to have that, right? So if you're a woman or a girl, you want to be beautiful. If you're a man or a boy, you want to be handsome.
아니 조백은 대버 당아도 나춘이셨나 아니 조백은 대버래 조바야고 고면나 아니 밑에 남바 되고 용 거래 아니 딱 배선에 두 손을 봤어.
So that's the result of practicing patience. So if you want to have a good look, good appearance, then you should practice patience. So that's what it said in the teachings.
아니 등하는 이제 서점 야보선 거래. 서점 야보선은 아니야 릭바 당보용 거래. 릭바 당보.
So then like that also you have to practice morality. If you practice morality, then you will have a clear mind.
Smart. 제장아
and clear mind.
제다다 간돌아야 세림보 고운도 대전라라래도 지체보 고운도 대나전라라래도 아니 안나바 제보고 대나전라라래도 아니 리파야 보고 대나전라 참아라래도.
So you want to have a long life, that depends on others. You want to have plenty of wealth, that depends on others. And you want to have good look and appearance, that also depends on others. And if you want to be smart and intelligent, that also depends on others. And then you also want to have a success. The success also depends on others.
So if
you that's because if you help others, and if you help others, if you do good for others, then you create merit, and because of the merit, then whatever you do, you become successful in that. So that's how it is explained in Buddhism, but you can still, analyze on that, whether that's true or not.
제단 담블레랑 가서 미카제 체레보들 체렘보 요바 마치 체들라 강에 자 체렘보 데 데레롱다 아니 코가야 코 굿락 그래서 주복 용 말아 미카치베나 벤조 가데나 코 슈보 차딩 데네도 미카치 카 메세고나 칼레젠나 조용마도 찍들 락 마테오 코딱 계사 차그러 왔어 미카치베나 파마치 부인이나 찍 남반 제오지 찍 다하던 제오명도 대야 찍락 그래 찍락 만나 계사로 다나지 미치다 람로초 미치 람로면다 가르나 찍고 his good luck his not good luck 다코 강가 good luck 로 말와 코 제제 용고도 와
So the people experience many different kind of things. You can't just say, oh, that's their luck, or it's by coincidence. They're experiencing that. Some people who have a long life and a very long and happy life. And some people that have a long life but full of suffering. They're going to go through all these sufferings, yet they still live very long. And then there's some people who are very rich, and then some people they're very poor. And some people they are very successful in what they're doing, and then some people they're not doing. And even even they're doing the same thing in the same way. And one person becomes successful, one doesn't become successful. Of course, that depends on many other causes and conditions around. But you can't just say, oh, it's because of luck. And it's not, you can't say because of luck or coincidentally he became like that. So even from one parent, child is born and raised in the same way, but one becomes very smart and others just remains dumb like that. So that also can't say that just because of luck. So there has to be something. There has to be something that makes us, to be different in these ways. So definitely, there is a cause, which we call is karma, in Buddhism, right? The karma or action created from our previous lives or in the past. And then, of course, then the Buddhism doesn't say that, okay, so you have created karma, so you don't have to worry, you just have to, you just have to experience the result. It's not saying that. Even though you have created good karma, the karma have to ripen. So in order for it to ripen, you have to provide the condition. And so you have to make it ripen. And to do that, you have to do other things. So you can't just sit there and say, oh, okay, this is karma, so karma will take care of it. You can't do just, there are many other things. So just like there's a cause and there's a condition for it to help the cause to ripen.
제자 간단 간도 직대랑 간도 레라고 내자 못하고 아니 미카시 람로 쳐요. 미카시 람로 쳐내면 아니 미카시 같은 남바 원내는 접자 자마고는 니죠요. 카시 접다 가는 야 보면 용도 다 간도 남베잖아. 다 개와 내면 수수고 레사당라 내게 해달라고 그래서.
And so there are many different kind of people. Some are very rich, but some are very poor. Some are very successful, but some are not successful at all. And some are very, beautiful even without any makeups. Some are not beautiful enough, even no matter how much they do the makeups. So this is why is it like that? Why is it like that? So in Buddhism we say it's because of our karma.
그래서나 아니 대야 세디게 karma 말이야. 개와 몸보 개발라 통화
And that is the result of the karma. And that karma is not necessarily the karma of this life. It could be the past life or past lives, or 100 lives before, or 1,000, or like countless lives before. So it could be karma from any of the previous lives.
양아도 미카젤라다 나다 밑세들 람도 치는 데다 게 밑세들 누가 치는 치면 가래에 나서 God doesn't make luck 락도 돼 말했어요.
And some people say, that I haven't done anything bad in my life, but why am I not successful? I'm not lucky at all. It's not like that.
제가 양수도 레서는 양 챈들라 코야 깨오게 깨던데 채나 콘레오데 콘메용고 그래서 코야 챈들라 코 두어 맞잖아. 챈들라 용하게 강게돼서 아니 지 제가 못 보는 용어 챈들라 깬트와는 게 메용고 그러와.
So all the goods, that and bads that we experience are all the results, of our positive and negative karma created in the past. And so when that positive and negative karma meets with the condition, then it ripens in the form of either happiness or suffering.
제자 앞에 자찬 제자 당간도 단다 계획을 심백하게 삼바가시 자치 못 삼와야나 레만보다 레드 레코라 니바메 차르고 코코라 파 노차르고 그래서 마음에 내라.
And so whatever practice we are able to do, any kind of virtuous actions that we're able to create, so that will help, to diminish the negative karmas. So even if we haven't experienced the result, it can be eliminated or destroyed by creating positive karmas.
when the 샤샤나 가는 딩아도 내 캄베나들이 작파도 돈다 샤샤이나 그 샤샤나 그 마셔네 가래 되는 쳐 컴바는 출 로마 차로 그러고 코 마셔가지고 출에는 코 피가 유셔나 코 매와 차서 그러고 뒤선으로 그러고 간지 간도 개와사나 아니 먹게면 되고 코랑 매와 차로 코랑 파 유셔를 다 되는 것이.
So like if you have a big chunk of ice in your room, and if you just leave it there, then it will melt, and then the water will come from there, and that will drench floor or table or wherever you would put it. But before it melts, if you just pick it up and throw it out, then it will not drench your the floor or table. So it's like that, so when you throw it out, you don't have to experience that result, right? Just like that, when you create positive karma, then that will be like throwing away the negative karma, and then that way you will not have to experience the result.
제가 배 셴바지 배셔나 맨날 가서 수보는 나사람 버려가도 나사카시 가서 수보란 거 그런 거또 먹고 매와 차르고도 대소로 그래서 근데 수보라 또 맨날 그 나사도 숙제는 그 투나고도 제가 가서 개발랍 첨보이나 개와디 또기 그 먹게와요 그 가나 그 매와 차르고 그러와 다 개와 사봤는데 갈래 먹게와도 또 체체체체요나 그거야 가서 누가 맞대요 그러와.
And so like we have all kinds of diseases in our body, right? But if our immunity system is good, then that itself will kill. If you build the immune system, if you build the immune system, then that will that itself will heal the disease, or kill the disease, right? And so just like that. So if you create a karma, if you create a positive karma, then that's like building immune system in your body. That will kill the disease of the negative karma by itself.
Okay. 다들 도도 들더라 마음보다 다 된다로 갈렸다 토도 가르파고서나 아니 나도 가디나 나도 sama nga 진짜 다 nga 제자 삼고도 다대 저자 그래서 다 나다 진이 다또 옌제 반던 거 되니 섬도 저자고 뭐 그런 뭐 저자야 말 섬도 저자고 그래서.
And so anyway, so all these negative karmas, right? So that we create, and as we we're talking about, coming from the self-cherishing attitude, and the positive karmas that we create, helping others, and so forth, comes from cherishing others. So always think about that, the benefits, of cherishing others. So all the positive karma, all the the happinesses comes from cherishing others.
제가 된대 받았다 아니 나도 가디나 지기 소소절라 젠팩을 삼로 가세 땅도 제고 그래서 이제 집안던 거 그래서 아니 제가 컨트롤해야 말이지 제가 내가 제고 그래서.
And so so therefore, as we want to have a good result, try to create a good karma by cherishing others. By cherishing others, will not create the negative karma, will not create any non-virtuous actions of causing harm to others. So cherish others more, and therefore one will stop creating the negative karmas.
Okay, that's 아니 나도 다 시당 진제해야 돼. 아니 다 주권이 주시나 렌제해야 돼. was.
So when we talk about that's like the karmic law of cause and effect. So the cause is the karma, and the effect is the result that we experience, right? So so in Dharma term we say karma and its effect, but in the general term it's like cause and effect.
나 단다 신경로 막 찾아 다 세보 차려도 그 니마치 차서 말어. 그 코란 내처를 차서 말어. 그때 지체지 그때 차려 그러와. 간제 코란한테 아니 다 가로 장크 냐야기 니바 쳐다 줘다도 아니 가로 그 니바 마다와 쟤네 아니 다 드라마 그래야지 슈체는 그 차려 그러와.
And so like like you see the leaves turning into brown now. Yeah, so it was green and bright, colorful, and now it's turning into brown and then falling down. So it's not by happening by itself, right? It's not happening naturally. There is a cause and condition for it to happen. Right? So there has to be a cause. The moisture and the heat and whatever there's elements that's required to keep the leaves green and bright like that. So when that the moisture, the heat, and so forth is disappearing, and then the cold air coming, and then that protein, the potential to hold the leaves green, is disappearing. So if there's no potential to hold that, then it turns into green and then dies and then falls down. So it has like all these causes and condition for it to happen. It's not just happening by itself.
Okay, te cheda tangi ngado kala ko she ba pena kala do na mena pena shate na shate kashe ane supo dugo no kashe te supo yawo ting so ko ane yadu se da koran suso kanji nibaka ka leng do was chala karije na.
So in the food also, like something that cause harm to our body, something cause cause benefit to our body. So even one kind of like a fat, we said the fat is not good, but there are some certain fat, that's needed for the body, to be healthy, right? So you need those. So you have to understand what are the good fats, and you have to understand what are the bad fats, and then you don't take the bad fats and take the good fats. So you have to like balance and understand which is beneficial and which is harmful.
Okay, that to cheshana kanje nambe ke pene ane dewa de dunga sete ane jeda soso jechen la rale de les lagdo was dewa de dunga sete.
So that's what the teachings of the Buddha says, that all the happiness and suffering that we experience depends on the positive and negative karma that we ourselves have created.
Ona ane dena ta deveje karna deveje gewa res. Ona gewa karna na gewa sete ane to jela pentochia. Pentochen drogo kijamala je pensem golo cheba. Ane jela newa macheba te ane gewe res.
And so then what is the cause of happiness? The cause of happiness is the virtue. So the virtue, what is the virtue? Virtue is, it's a thought to benefit others. So it's cherishing others, thought to benefit others. You don't have to like go out and benefit. As long as you have the thought to benefit others, that's good. So even if you have that thought, then of course that will lead you to benefit others. If you don't have that, then you will not be able to help others. So helping others and having a thought to help others and not causing harm, so not having any thought to cause harm to others. So before you cause harm to others, you have to have that thought, right? So if you prevent that thought, then it can also prevent the action. And so therefore having that thought is very important. So those are the virtuous action. And so in short, those are the 10, those are the morality, morality of abandoning the 10 non-virtuous actions. So by understanding the negative effects of those 10 non-virtuous actions, not engaging in the 10 non-virtuous actions, is practicing morality. And that is, in short, is the virtue. And so you have to observe the mind from creating the negative karma, preventing the mind from creating those negative karma. And that depends on others. So when you commit the non-virtuous actions of your speech, like telling lie or doing the other gossipings or using harsh words or slanderings like that, so you can't do that to yourself, right? You have to do it on others. So when you stop that, you also stop on others, right? Stop creating that on others. So therefore, it depends on others. And what is suffering? Suffering is something that we don't wish for, right? And and the cause of that suffering is the non-virtuous actions, the action that cause harm to others. And what are those actions of causing harm to others? Those, in short, those are the 10 non-virtuous actions. Engaging in any of the 10 non-virtuous actions is creating negative karma. And so maybe in our case, in your case in here, most of you here, you don't have to worry maybe about the non-virtuous actions created through your body, because I don't think you will kill, I don't think you will steal, and I don't think you will commit adultery. So you don't have to really worry about that. But what you are in the risk of committing is the non-virtuous actions from your speech, like telling lie, slandering, or using a harsh words, and especially the idle gossiping. So you have to really be careful with those ones. And then, of course, all those comes, from the non-virtuous actions, of the mind, like the ill will, the harmful intention, and then covetousness, and then the wrong view. So because of these three non-virtuous actions of the mind, then from there we create all these non-virtuous actions of the body and speech. So in the ancient time, the generals will fight, go in the front to fight, and then the soldiers will be behind. But now the generals stay behind and send the soldiers first to be killed. So like that, So now is our mind, the mind is like the general, sitting behind, and then is sending his soldiers, of the body and speech, to create all this non-virtuous action. And so especially the wrong view, wrong view, which we describe as not believing in law of cause and effect, or not believing in past and future lives, and so forth, not believing in three jewels like that, right? So it's not necessarily like that. Even if you have a certain kind of view and you hold very strongly on that, and especially if that is if that's a wrong view, like the not a correct view, and then that's a wrong view also. Holding, like grasping on that view, on your view.
아니 다 개와도사 가래 무게와 즉 샤월라 마슈바데 무게와 마체사 빵사데 가래 대오 무게와 마체바 가로 집바 자수 그래 가지
즉 제바 즉 마지바
즉 제바 즉 마지바 되레스 다 다른 모시 담 땅고 말 되레스.
So what is non-virtuous action and a virtuous action? It's all like, we describe as the 10 non-virtuous action in short. And not creating that is the virtuous action, and creating that is the non-virtuous action.
제가 다 대소소 때 되게 좀 따고 땡무서 말은 되게 봐 대단 되다 봐. 되게 섭다가서 되게 봐 쪽대 버려 차대. 될 만데와 요 말에.
So one should check oneself, whether one is influenced by that or not. So one is being moved by those negative karmas or not. So just has to watch them, and then if you find that, then stop creating them.
Okay, 제다다 제체바 다 제체바도 외치는데 빼면서 내가 chen 버려. 가르나 제대 빼는 거 chen 버려. 가르서나 소소 젠바야 젠라 동고군도 아니 소소 샹제고 세미야 젠라 되는 공고군도 소소 서점이야 젠라 되는 공고군도 조바야 섬나 젠라 되는 공고군도 다 대삼고 그래서.
And so therefore, think about this cherishing others. So cherishing others is very important, because everything comes from others, by depending on others. All the good results that we want to experience comes from, practicing those virtuous actions. And in order to practice those virtuous actions, it has to depend on others, depend on others. It's like we want to have a long life, for that we have to depend on others. So, we want to have a plenty of wealth, for which we have to practice generosity. That also depends on others. We want to have a good looks and good appearance. For that, we have to practice patience, and that also depends on others. So others are very important, for us to have all the good things in our life. The things that we want to experience all comes from others, and therefore others are very important. Therefore, I should cherish others more than myself.
제가 양 배셔도들 뻔나 단단 가서 저한테 쇼컨도 봐. 내야 미셴베도 줘레스. 담보는 때주지 말인데 미망보 깔레 잡 아니 로서 땅에 신이 간도 교야요. 나도 마마망행 나랑 우트와 있어. 저랑 니도 가와 저래. 저랑 니도 미셴바치다 내가 쳤네. 아니 혼자로 왔어. 도저히 가상 차상 파도 때인데 요래.
So everything that we have, comes from others by depending on others, right? So even the cloth that we're wearing now, it's not, created by ourselves. We didn't use all those thread, to make the cloth and then sew it, our fabric and then sew it into a cloth, which we're able to wear now. None of those things are done by us. It's all done by others. And I always say, oh, yeah, but I bought it myself. I paid the money. And then even the money that you paid, where did it come from? It came also from others. And you can't have money without a job, without doing something. And that because somebody else gave you a job, you were able to do that, and you made the money. And with that money, you bought the clothes. So everything that we have all comes from others.
제가 돈을 도우치나 삼로단에 르파들은 딱 의원에서 다랑 도우치 파적 거면 그 다지 대 인도나 대를 만드나 대를 그저 말해왔어.
And so like that, think about it, and they see it's really like that or not. This is what is explained in the teaching. And because, there is a reason, to prove that. It's not like saying, oh, you have to accept whether it's true or not. It's not like that. It's saying that because it has a reason to prove that's true.
제당가도 변할 진짜가 좋다데 오늘 전에 지금 단 잠불가 청구서로 배 단데 오늘 의원에서 해도 하고 되어요. 진짜로 좋다데.
And so the law of cause and effect, is very appealing, to just like how things are happening in the world.
아니 신이 되들라나 대삼로 야보 마다나 신이 되들라나 양가도 레라고 고라고 말했어. 대자 믹스가 된다가 좀 쇼바께 고라 깔래 가오래.
So it has all the logics, to accept that, right? And so it's not that difficult, to accept. But when you talk about like a good devotion, and then there are so many things that doesn't make sense, to the worldly people. So it's not that easy to accept that.
Right. 제가도 개개야 다 랑에 대표는 게라 그러고 제가 나야 못하거든요. 다대 고타다 연구 말아봤어.
I'm sort of the teacher here teaching. So if I say, oh, I'm your guru, you should see me as a Buddha, and that's it's not appealing, right? So it doesn't sound good, So therefore it's a little difficult, for me to say and for you to accept.
제가 대가를 걸다 나도 렌데 코드도 빼 무슨 배 리파단 태바 직대가 로타단 태바 뭐내서 연방아도 고대고 쉬어요.
Whereas the law of cause and effect, is very logical, is very easy to prove, and it goes along with our thought. So it's not that easy, not that difficult to accept.
Okay, 다 간제 아니 젠젠들이 쫀다 가다 쉬어 봐. 다 데링한도 쉬어 돼. 아니 말 가상마 얘네 라젠들이 쫀다 데리 젠젠들이 연대들 말해. 젠젠들 여다가나 젠드 다 쳔보 소소가 대화다. 참아 젠드는 거다 고도 까리 쳔보레스 나고도.
And so last time we talked about the disadvantages of the cherishing oneself, and today we talked about the advantages of cherishing others. And so all this suffering that we experience, is coming from cherishing oneself, and all the happiness that we experience, comes from cherishing others.
Okay. 당고도 정말 로조 된다 말씀도. 내배 내가 전번에 오늘 곰자나 배 곰잡 선도다 곰잡 군요 레레레 곰잡 셈라 뇨 맞다도 곰고요래 이제.
And so this is the point, of the 7-point, thought transformation. This is a very important practice, for mind training. And we have to read, understand, and then meditate until we experience the realization, of that point, of the mind training.
당본들이 진짜 삼로다 제가 삼로다. 되네 다 tel라. 당고는 제사데 까디 쳔보레도 삼베 섬도 다랑 갈 섬도 되고.
And so first, of course, you have to think about the reasons, why others are very important, how all these things that we have is by the kindness of others. We have to think about the logic reasons. That's called the analytical meditation. So once you have analyzed that, and then you found that, yes, others are very kind, then you keep your mind on that thought. Others are very kind, others are very kind, others are very kind. And just keep on that thought. And that's called the stabilized meditation.
제가 도치네 삼랍삼배나 어떻게 드립삼나 안에 고 갈래 삼는 용어이 되고 고 간나 짐세 리파칸가 고 따따 차트서 왔어. 아따 땡고네 렌두 삼아시.
So you have to find that conviction, saying that, yes, it's all by the kindness of others. And for that, you have to go through all the reasonings, as explained here. And okay, you can use all your own logic. Say, yes, it's all by others. Or whatever I have is all by others. Like that. Think about all the good things that you have, everything that you want in your life, all the things that and all the positive things that you have in your life, is all by the kindness of others. Think about all the reasons how it is like that. And once you find that, yes, it is like that, then you keep your thought on that, thing that is by the kindness of others.
제자 아니 소소변나 미질라 가게요나 소소 미질라 가게요나 진짜 처음에 가가 말어. 진짜로데 가사나 대 가차비 질라야 아니 미티가 가르치는 주제도 와다. 미티가 나 가르치는 가지고 다투고도 왔어.
Just like, if you like somebody, you can't just like somebody just like that, right? You have a reason. Would you just like somebody like that? No. Yeah? You will find some reasons. Oh, yeah, because he did this, because he's that, like that. So you like somebody like that. And then once you like that person with that reason, then you will just follow the person. And for the sake of that person, you can give up many of your things. And so, because of because of the reasons that one find that the person is very good, and so because of the reason, then you are able to do so many things, and even like give up all your things.
제가 대전나 가도 줄 제체바도 외친데 쇼나 제들 가그래 텔가나 텔 코로 상 말해 아니 가도 지나 그 코로랑도 뭐 코로라 상고래 와 가도 대사 제들 코로랑에도 매매 차도
So by thinking in that way, when we come to cherish others, then we'll not dislike others. And if we don't dislike the others, then we'll not get angry towards them.
되게 거기서 캡선 소도라서
And so then who win? So who wins in that? Oneself, right? The profit is gained by oneself. Nobody takes it away. So if you don't, you feel happy, so you gain.
Okay, like that. Any questions? Otherwise, I non-stop talk. Looks you guys are perfect. It's work for you. You think this is true or this is not true? You think this is right or this is not really correct? Yeah. Anyway, it's wonderful. If you have no question, that's good. My vacation. Yes, Maria.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That was very helpful, Geshe. I appreciate that teaching. I wanted to ask you if you could please clarify the 7-point practice and the I think it's the 7-fold causes.
So?
Yeah, I'm getting a little, I think I'm getting myself confused on the two things, the 7-point practice and the mind trainings. I think that's what I'm getting myself confused on. Is that all the same thing?
No, it's different.
It's different?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to clarify.
Okay, who can explain for seven limbs? What's that? You're not doing this. Yeah, they bed call.
Yeah, so that's different. That's totally different.
Yeah.
So you know the 7-fold cause and effect instruction, right? So it's starting with recognizing all sentient beings as your mother, remember their kindness, right? And then we're wishing to repay their kindness. And then led by that, then there comes the loving kindness, and then compassion, and then the superior intention, which is taking the responsibility upon oneself to free all the sentient beings from suffering and to provide them with all the happiness. And then in order to do so, then you see, those are the 7-fold causes. So the 6 are causes, and then the 7th one is the bodhicitta. And so in order to do so, I must achieve enlightenment, and that thought is called bodhicitta. So those are the 7-fold cause and effect instruction.
Oh, okay.
And so those are that's called the sevenfold cause and effect and such. So those are the causes, for generating bodhicitta, the result bodhicitta.
And then lojo to the matter that low so some janta
And the 7-point mind training, is like there are 7 essential points, to train your mind.
I think it and
those are also like training the mind, so training your mind, to especially to generate bodhicitta. And so the 7 points are not all about generating bodhicitta. So some of them are like preparing to generate bodhicitta, and others are like creating a cause to creating the condition for generating bodhicitta, doing the practice to generate bodhicitta. So the first one, the first point, is the preparatory practice. So doing all this preparatory practice in preparation for generating bodhicitta.
And then you bought the English Sancho Sam Javala, the Tendo Sancho Latapata, Kudo Sancho Sam Javala, and it Jang Sancho Lam Karo. And the Rachiji, and it Gotamana Samba, Jechiji, and the Gotamata Tanama Tashin Rodi.
And then, then we went to the preparatory practice, right? So preparatory practice, for that we contemplate on the prophetic rebirth, death and impermanence, karmic law, cause and effect, and the disadvantage of the cyclic existence, and all those are the preparatory practice. Once you have done that, then you engage in the actual practice, of generating bodhicitta. And then in that we talk about the ultimate bodhicitta and conventional bodhicitta. And then the ultimate bodhicitta is the wisdom realizing emptiness in conjoined with the bodhicitta, which is actually the wisdom realizing emptiness, right? So it's all going to be talked about later when we talk about the wisdom. And then the conventional bodhicitta is the actual bodhicitta we're talking about when we say bodhicitta. And so then for that, now it talks about in order to generate that bodhicitta, and you have to have these like 5 categories, which is equalizing and equalizing oneself with others, thinking of oneself and all other beings as equal, and then thinking about the disadvantage of cherishing oneself, and then thinking about the advantages or good qualities of thinking about or cherishing others, and then there's the actual contemplation on the exchanging self with others, and then the 5th one is on that basis of exchanging self with others, then doing the practice of tonglen, taking and giving.
Okay.
The 2nd point. Now we're on the 2nd point of mind training.
There are so many numbers, right?
Right. Thank you so much.
They're more confused. Sometimes we don't want to talk about numbers, then just go through that.
Right.
Like example, 10 non-virtues, you guys not just memorize, right? Yes, Margaret?
Thank you, Geshe. I just want to clarify the 7-fold cause and effect training. That's the, I remember like a couple Sundays ago, we talked about Lama Tisha taught the 7-fold cause and effect training, right? And then, Is it correct? And then this more sort of this tonglen, this exchanging self for others is more like the Shantideva lineage in terms of.
Yeah. 저 근데 셔발에 저어질라 제네마가 돼. 야대 좀 셔발에라 다시 냠치게 셈장도 그랬어.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's correct.
Then the 7-point mind training, then, this preparatory and all that, does this fall under the Shantideva?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
가상가당 간도 제네마가 되는 걸로 딸 셈자사해 봐. 다 아니 다시 냠치고 자서 많이 그래. 아니 로조 된다마.
다시 냠치 때가라 대 저절 영어로 해.
여도요리 여도 이자 여다. 자산들만 여여다. 매일 기자마다.
맞다. 루그 용사디.
야, 제타 지바 용다 저버데 아니 조절은 이자 요레스. 이나 세당 조데 마 용다 저버데 아니 조절을라 지네마가 돼. 야데 좀 잘라 다시 냠제 거네 거레스. 다마 까덴베 교신도 마 용카 차상 용거로. 그는 좀 담바가네. 마차 다르와로.
다가라 여기 고네지나?
고네나 다조 아니 저 자와 참바 아니 다 되는 마 자체 쇼지 되는 마 되는 잠배야 모사데 자 잠벨라 니자 차상요. 다 되는 쪽으로서 다 두셔나요. 대양 집 다달롤 맞은 투나시 야보마도. 나 강타를 단다 자세침보 셔발레게 룩다. 아니 조지게 룩이자데 다 단당 아주 제가 강가 요래서. 내 마이나 코카가 같이다 요서와.
Yeah, I'm not clearly sure exactly where it came from. Maybe you might, some of you might have read it already. Maybe like Jennifer, you know, the original, you know, of these two instruction, the equalizing, and exchanging self with others, and the sevenfold cosmic instruction. But you know, in the text, it says like, the Lama Tisha's the system, you know, is the sevenfold cosmic extension, and then Shantideva's system is the equalizing and exchanging self with others. You know, but you know, it says that they both came, you know, to Lama Tisha, and then from Lama Tisha it came down to Lama Tsongkhapa, or maybe both came down to Lama Tsongkhapa, and then from there, and then you know. So we have the both, you know, instruction now in this Lam-rim, you know, text, you know, the sevenfold cosmic instruction, and as well as the equalizing and exchanging self with others. So Lama Tisha to Domtempa, and then Domtempa to the Kadamba masters, they're like all mainly focused, you know, on the practice, you know, of generating bodhicitta through the equalizing and exchanging self with others. I'm not exactly sure, you know, if it was divided. You know, I know the method and wisdom, you know, is divided into like Buddha Maitreya and Manjushri. But in this instruction of generating bodhicitta, not sure. But anyway, the both all goes, you know, back to Buddha Shakyamuni.
Okay. Okay, I think that's good. You guys very quiet.
Thank you, Geshe.
Try to walk around, do a little dancing. Anyway, okay, then we can stop. It's wonderful. Try to do a little bit of meditation. Then be happy. Okay? Yep. Now you can start praying.
Ji perke juxing me totram re rab ling ji ni de gen pa di sange jing du ming te oagi drokon nam dak jing la cher par shu je tsun la me kutse rapten ching nam katrin le chok cher ge pa dang lo sang ten pedren me sasum gi roe mun so tak tu negyo chig yedam guru ratna mandala kam niryatayami. From my two collections, vast is space that I've amassed from working with ever at this practice for a great length of time. May I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose mind's wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by even this graded course to enlightenment completed due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and your children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. In that snow mountain encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig remain in life till samsara's end. Savior of the snowland teachings and transmigratory beings, who extensively clarifies the path that unifies emptiness and compassion. To the lotus in the hand, Lord Tenzin Gyatso, I beseech, may all your holy wishes be fulfilled. You who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as a bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. Through this virtue may I swiftly, having gained the Guru Buddha's state, place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious supreme Bodhi mind, may it where unborn arise, and where born never decline, but increase forevermore. Mid say wait Chen Rezi, dream-making pei wang po jam belyan, gang chen ke pei tsu gen Tsongkhapa, lo sang dra pei Jabla Solvade. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you,
Damchula.
Thank you, Damchula. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you, Damcho. Thank you.
Thank you, Damcho.
Thank you.